Prednisone, granted emergency use authorization by the FDA. People are familiar with that. Dexamethasone, the steroid, it is available in every hospital basically in the world. It's cheap. We've had it for a long time, also showing some promise in clinical trials.
All right, those are the drugs that have promising evidence. There are others, though, that fall into a gray zone.
Exactly, and those are being considered at this point showing mixed evidence. So as we break them down, one of them is called EIDD 2801. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. That's an oral pill antiviral medication that's shown some promise in human cells and in animal studies. Immune therapy, things like convalescent plasma and monoclonal antibodies. There are these cytokine inhibitors that really kind of work to dampen that major inflammatory response. One of them is called TOSI, and then blood thinners. So all of these at this point showing what we are referring to as mixed evidence in terms of being effective.
All right, and then there are the treatment options that right now have not shown that they do more benefit than harm.
Right, and the two big ones I think in that category right now, hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, and there's AIDS drugs, leponavir and ritonavir, also not really showing promising results in clinical trials. But I want to be clear, as we learn more, all of this may change. It's being aggressively studied, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Jen. We're going to turn now to ABC's Kira Phillips, who's in Washington with the latest headlines for us. Good afternoon, Kira.
Good afternoon, Amy. We begin here today with the tragic and surreal devastation in Beirut. That incredible blast captured on camera as you can see a priest running for his life during the mass there. At least 100 people killed and 4,000 injured. The apocalyptic aftermath described as more than a catastrophe. That cause has not yet been determined, but we can tell you that investigators are digging into whether those explosions were accidents or intentionally triggered. And if you've been scouring grocery store shelves for those disinfectant wipes, well, you're probably going to come up empty-handed for a while. Our Rebecca Jarvis says that the Clorox CEO predicts those sold-out wipes won't be back until next year. Lysol wipes also sold out at major retailers. And from those empty store shelves to the empty stands at this year's Indy 500, Indianapolis Motor Speedway announcing the big race this summer will take place without fans, given the cases and positivity rates that are just accelerating there. And Amy, 2020 actually becomes the first time in the race's 109-year history that fans won't be able to be in those grandstands to watch it live, and those drivers are going to have to take to the track, that lonely track, August 23rd. Big bummer.
Yeah, but people will be cheering loudly from the safety of their and comfort of their couches, right?
There you go.
All right, Kira, thank you. Well, now to Philadelphia, where Tropical Storm Isaias pummeled the city yesterday with torrential rains and damaging winds, downing power lines and spawning tornadoes. Meanwhile, on the upside, once a virus hotspot, Philly is starting to see slight drops in its COVID-19 numbers. So we are joined now by Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney. Mayor Kenney, thanks for being with us. And even though the storm is gone, we know that floods
and comfortable, long-lasting protection, because your strength is supported by ours. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
Smoking caused my throat cancer. But walking every day makes me feel like myself again. Well, almost.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Millions of people are saying yes to Allegra, including the experts. It's the #1 allergist-recommended brand for non-drowsy relief. Allegra works 2 times faster than Claritin, and while Zyrtec may cause drowsiness, Allegra won't. Say yes to Allegra.
Stouffer's mac and cheese is made with 100% real cheese.
So creamy.
So cheesy.
It's too bad you're a dog. This is really creamy. You'd love it.
Stouffer's, the taste you love at a price you'll love.
How would I describe overpaying on a used car? It's humiliating. It's expensive.
Only Carfax.com can give you the most accurate price based on the Carfax report. Stop the shame of overpaying and start your used car search today at Carfax.com.
These days, it's easy to say, I'm fine. Everyone does it. But for me, it's harder. I struggle to keep up this brave face and hide my depression symptoms, even on an antidepressant. Is it just me?
No, many people taking antidepressants still experience symptoms. When added to an antidepressant, Rexulti is proven to reduce depression symptoms 62% more than the antidepressant alone. So you can stay on your current treatment and help build on your progress.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and worsen depression in those under 25. Call your doctor if you have fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which may signal a life-threatening condition, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Increased cholesterol, weight gain, high blood sugar, decreased white blood cells, compulsive behaviors, dizziness, seizures, trouble swallowing may occur.
Now when I say I'm good, I mean it.
Ask your doctor about adding Rexulti. Now, our savings card offers benefits for Rexulti and your generic antidepressant.
Got it?
Got it.
It's slippery.
The Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
Hey, look. I got it.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
We are back now with the Black independent bookstore owner celebrating women authors, artists, and activists working hard in this pandemic to turn the page on racism and inequality.
I am Janine A. Cook. I consider myself the shopkeeper of Harriet's Bookshop. Harriet's Bookshop is located in the Fishtown section of North Philadelphia. Harriet's Bookshop is named for historical heroine Harriet Tubman. I think that she inspires us to think larger about what's possible for ourselves as humans, especially as women, as Black women. Our mission is to celebrate women authors, women artists, and women activists. And so what you'll see in our collection are books that do just that. We were only open for 6 weeks before the pandemic hit. Business was going really well. Then the closer we got to the middle of March, things started to we serve.
That's right, and we all know change doesn't happen overnight, but what steps are you putting in place to achieve that very goal?
We're going to create leadership opportunities and education opportunities for high school athletes, those engaged in community sports programs that we work with. We're going to engage them and give them exposure to careers in sport and help them build a pathway to those careers in sport. And our success is going to be measured by, how many kids aspire to be not a LeBron James or an Aaron Donald, but to aspire to be a vice president or a senior vice president or an executive within the sports organizations that we work with. Success is going to be measured by how we influence through the team's platform, driving more resources into after-school and enrichment programs in our public schools, public funding that's desperately needed. And success is going to be measured by how many other people join in on our play equity movement. We're about leveling the playing field so all kids have equal access to sport and play, and with that, the transformational benefits to build a pathway to lifelong well-being. We'd love to see a Seattle alliance or a Chicago alliance or an alliance in New York City for that matter. So our work will be measured by whether or not we're still talking about the injustices that face particularly Black communities, but communities of colors across this country. And it will be measured by how many join in our movement to drive real change, one kid at a time.
Yeah, you are doing such important work. Renata, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all that you're doing for your community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your interest. It's my pleasure.
Returning now to Dr. Jen Ashton for her final thoughts.
So, Amy, final thoughts today inspired by a fascinating article I read in the Harvard Business Review about the psychology of leading in the period of a crisis. And in particular, they talked about this concept called holding, which is the process whereby one person, generally in a leadership position during uncertain times, interprets what's going on for others. Now, this person could be a public leader or could also be a parent, and in offering support, that then leads to progress, which then develops into a vision of how we're going to move forward. It said particularly it made the analogy to parents, what we do all the time. It says you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present, and that this process of holding really gives us a greater of comfort, which leads, especially during a crisis, to courage. And I just thought that was fascinating for people who want to read more Harvard Business Review.
Yeah, fascinating and beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much, Dr. Jen. And thank you for joining us. We're going to see you again tomorrow. I'm Amy Robach in our Times Square studios in New York City. For Dr. Jen Ashton and all of us here at ABC News, stay well, stay safe, and have a wonderful Wednesday.
Hold your balance. I just say whatever, 'cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone